Honor, redemption, rage, revenge, and approval are complex motives for a villain. In most media today, you usually have the one-dimensional antagonist who's greedy with the desire of money or power. And where external conflict could help develop the antagonist, it only conveys one feeling to the audience, and that's to dislike the antagonist while appreciating the protagonist. Hey, I'm DoktorSkipper, and this is my one villainous scene. When it comes to Avatar: The Last Airbender, Firelord Ozai and Azula were never the villains I valued most. It was Zuko. Zuko is a complex character that receives the most development throughout the whole series, and is the best example of a redemption arc when it comes to storytelling. Zuko is a story of confusion, rage, and sadness where the character puts on a facade that isn't true to his morals and desperation of approval. The three main antagonists of Avatar: The Last Airbender consisted of Ozai, Azula, and Zuko, who were all a part of the same family. And the main thing I want to focus on in this video is Zuko's battle with his morals. One of my favorite scenes in the series involves Zuko and his mother feeding ducks at a pond.
Want to see how Azula feeds turtle ducks?
Zuko, why would you do that?
So there's a lot to this scene. First, you see Zuko attempting to impress his mother by doing actions that mimic Azula, to then not receive the approval he was seeking. When he throws the rock at the baby duck, he's instantly stunned and regrets his actions. Zuko isn't brutal and malicious like his younger sister, but wants the same approval that she receives from their father.
Great-grandfather won
because even though his army was outnumbered, he cleverly calculated his advantages. The enemy was downwind and there was a drought. Their defenses burned to a crisp in minutes.
Correct, my dear.
Azula is cutthroat, lacking remorse and empathy, and these attributes make her mother view her as a monster, but to her father she's seen as a strong, fearless leader. Zuko takes after the characteristics of his mother. He feels bad for throwing the rock at the duck and is confused on why he even did it. He then gets mad at the mother duck for biting him, for his mother to then defend the duck justifying its actions, stating that it was defending its young, reassuring to Zuko that what he did was mean and cruel. Zuko is sympathetic and empathetic, where Azula is manipulative and cold. After Iroh fails the 600-day siege of Ba Sing Se, he's in grief due to the loss of a son. Zuko feels empathy for Iroh while he's in grief, where Azula is optimistic, because his failure and disgrace puts her father in a greater position to heir the throne, which will result in her moving up the ladder in ranks and leadership, showing the difference of Azula and Zuko's attitude towards loss, grief, and the perspective of war. The character arc of Zuko is someone who wears a mask and acts out of character due to the pressures of approval and redemption. When Zuko's mom is exiled for defending Zuko, all the morals he once carried are disregarded due to conflicting against his father and sister's values. Azula was rewarded and recognized for her strategy and desire for victory, where Zuko has been shamed and perceived as weak for his feelings of remorse and value of emotion. So to win favor and respect of their father, he makes adjustments and attitudes towards his beliefs. And after gaining his father's respect and honor, he quickly loses it for standing up for what he believes in. In a flashback, you learn that Zuko got a scar by talking out of line in regards to a military strategy that had the intention of sacrificing valued troops in favor of victory. Due to him speaking out of line, he's forced to then duel in Agni Kai for his honor, but is unaware he's fighting his own father, a 13-year-old boy fighting what is seen to be the most powerful firebender. Zuko's main antagonist was never Aang, it was always his father. The only reason Zuko pursued Aang was because he hoped that capturing the Avatar would restore his honor. Zuko is stuck in a malicious cycle where he's punished for doing what he deems right while feeling conflicted for doing what he feels is wrong, even though he's being told that it's the right decision. Zuko is incredibly naive. His father never loved him, but he doesn't want to come to terms with the truth. The only person who sees Zuko for what he truly is Uncle Iroh. At first, Zuko has no respect for Uncle Iroh and even fabricates competition. Iroh is a disgrace just like Zuko, but Zuko wants to prove he's better by finishing his redemption arc. The only reason Iroh doesn't combat this is because he knows that Zuko's feelings aren't genuine, and he doesn't want to affect his journey towards his real redemption, not the false one that surrounds him gaining respect from someone who's never valued it in the first place. Zuko's journey is more of a zigzag than a straight line. Zuko's redemption isn't an awkward 180 switch, you get to see the development firsthand. Zuko goes on a journey of perspective. After Zuko and Iroh become fugitives to the Fire Nation, Zuko becomes irritable and decides to journey by himself without Iroh. He then finds an earthbending village and discovers how the world views the Fire Nation. And after saving the village and helping its people, he reveals to be a firebender, to then be rejected by the village. For his whole life, he had the belief that the Fire Nation had the intentions of improving the lives of everyone they rule over, to then discover that everybody fears the Fire Nation, even worse, that they have the right to. At this point, Zuko doesn't view the Fire Nation like he once did, and after refinding Uncle Iroh, he's okay with settling and living a new life, throwing the past behind him. Tales of Ba Sing Se, you get to see Zuko have culture shock. He acts like a normal teenager for once, living a normal life without any pressures, expectation, resentment, or intimidation surrounding him. But Zuko still has issues of holding on to the past, and when he has the opportunity of kidnapping the Avatar to please his father, he has to make a decision to live a normal life or have a chance at honor for his nation that disregards him. He makes the right decision for once in his life, and frees Appa after Uncle Iroh speech, and begins to shed his past life and focus on the tea shop and living a normal life with his uncle. But Zuko's a complex character. Temptation can make anybody lose judgment, and while Zuko is on a path of redemption, he's tested. He gets out his uncle who stuck by him and supported him through everything while no one did for approval by a nation and a family that doesn't care for him, or he could do the right thing and defend his uncle. And Zuko makes the wrong decision, and from this wrong decision, he receives everything he's ever wanted. He's accepted back into the Fire Nation and has his father's respect. Yet Zuko is still conflicted. He's angry, he's irritable, and he's regretful, knowing he made the wrong decision. He's angry with himself for backstabbing his uncle and falling off the path. And after finding out what he truly wants, he decides to leave the past behind him. The scene where Zuko kills his past self is when he confronts his father during the Day of Black Sun. After that, Zuko begins his true redemption arc. He finds the Avatar and gains their trust over a long period of time and eventually finds Uncle Iroh. After living a life of fear and punishment, he's anxious that Uncle Iroh is furious with him, to then receive a hug. Zuko isn't an anti-hero. He's a villain who redeemed and changed his ways in the most natural way possible, and that's why I chose to talk about this character in this playlist. It's easy to make a bad guy, but redeeming the villain is a way more handful task, and Avatar nails it. That's pretty much it. Really quickly, I want to say thank you to Nandu V Movies for the playlist. I'm DoktorSkipper, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
I chain smoke till I choke, have a good heart.